Like, these messages to me just come off as super contrived and like plotting. But I mean, you always told me that you wanted to be your baby's mother. I loved you and I did everything to be a good girlfriend. Now this is happening, you walked away. I think I want to keep the baby. I don't want to keep it alive. I want you to think carefully and take the responsibility. And then they call, take your time, they chat, take responsibility for your actions. What's this? Read it. Blood test. Pregnancy blood test. I know, but what does it mean? I don't understand the numbers. 3 to 4 weeks, doctor says. Oh, okay. Like, this chick ran to the hospital to instantly get like this blood test. I was looking at her Instagram. Bro, this chick has flown all over the world. She had like 7 years of posts on this IG. She's got massive fake tits, edits the out of all of her photos, probably a ton of work done in other parts of her body and her face. She's literally got like whole vacations to Dubai. She's 28 years old. Like, this is not the way that she's talking. Is like, I'm like a naive foreign girl trapped in the United States. I don't know what I'm going to do. But bull. I think she was a competition bodybuilder for at least a year or two. She's got a ton of pictures of her bodybuilding in the past. Like, bro, she's not just some like poor innocent girl who got swindled and swooned by Walter in a couple months. That's bullshit. Keep in mind, these people have been dating March 12th. They started dating they met in November, December, January, February. So they've been dating for what, 4 months? They've known each other for 4 months. They've known each other from first time they've ever met. They've known each other for 4 months. Now I'm warning all girls, stay away from this man. He is dishonest and liar. Now I ask you, please stand by me and help me to expose him in order to protect more women. Oh, and you know what? I think something else just clicked in my brain. I wonder if she's trying to protect her bag. If he gets other women pregnant, his child support obligations might decrease. So she's trying to keep him away from... That's why she wanted to publicly out all this, I bet. I don't think she's trying to do that, though, Destiny. I didn't get the vibe that she was trying to be malicious. We also have to consider that she's just as emotional as Fresh right now. If she is saying the same thing in a month or two, then I can understand your point. Okay, I'm going to say this with a bit of warning, all right? I'm going to say this with a bit of warning. Don't use this information irresponsibly, or don't extrapolate too much from what I'm saying, all right? However, me and Pixie got into an argument a long time ago about Tara Reid and President Biden over whether or not Biden Tara Reid. And Pixie had fallen into this all roads lead to Rome fallacy, in my opinion, where anytime I said, doesn't Tara Reid's behavior seem strange here? She said, oh, well, maybe it's because it was after a traumatic event. People can do crazy things after traumatic events. Anybody can be, doing wild stuff after traumatic events. Just because somebody is emotional doesn't mean that every behavior is equally likely, right? So when you say she was emotional, I believe you. Somebody could be emotional after finding out they're pregnant. That makes sense for sure. But the behavior afterwards of, I took 2 pregnancy tests. I went to the hospital, got a blood test to confirm. I sent him the images of it. I argued with him for a bit on text. I had a phone call with him where I asked if he was going to do anything to me. I recorded the phone call so that I could leak it a day later. I contacted a lawyer to see what was going on. And also, I just want you guys to know, I am aware that in the United States, the father has to pay child support and provide for his kid. And also, since I'm here on a tourist visa, I don't want to go back to China and I can't work for 9 months. So I hope he does the right thing and provides for me until his son is born. That is not like an emotional reaction to a pregnancy. That's a wild set of things to immediately be going down days after finding out you're pregnant to a guy that you've been dating for 3 months. That's wild. People make irrational decisions, though, Destiny. It's been a few days. Let's hold judgment for at least a few weeks. She's not making irrational decisions. What are you talking about? I agree, but to play devil's advocate, if she knows his background in the world he lives in and that he talks about protecting herself at all costs, would it make sense for her to do the same? No, because then she would have been on birth control. What do you mean? Is she supposed to be stupid and not do these things? I mean, my guess is the first thing you would do is you would contact the father and you would try to figure out, have a reasonable conversation about the direction you're headed in and what you want to do to figure things out. Not immediately start screen capping and recording conversations. And I'm not faulting her. By the way, I'm not faulting her for reaching out to a lawyer in and of itself. It's just all the things collectively, I get huge baby trap vibes. And the way that she was talking, in my opinion, now could we chalk it up to being emotional? It was either me or somebody else asked that question last night on Jessica's stream. If Walter, flipped around and he's like, listen, I understand we got pregnant. I'm going to do what I need to support my kid, blah, blah, blah. Let's figure this out. Would you be okay with him seeing the kid and everything? And she was like, no, he'll never change. That's just a wild statement. That's a wild statement to make. She is a professional handler. If you want the true conspiracy, Myron is too loyal and he can't get rid of Walter and he wants to do the show on his own. And now he sent a secret Chinese assassin to take him out. And this is how he's going to get him to retire. I'm just kidding. Do you think Fresh saying he had no money was just to throw her off? Well, yeah, because it seems pretty obvious that that she's trying to baby trap him. So he's like, I ain't got no money. I ain't got shit. Also, the type of women that I go for are going to be a lot different too. Like, I've never a woman like this. No offense. And I'm not even saying she's ugly. I don't think she's ugly at all. But I would just never. The plastic surgery and all that, I don't. It's really, 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 that's a very, very, very challenging thing for me to do. I probably only like 2 or 3 women like this in my entire life. It's really hard for me to. And also, I'm also overgeneralizing all women with plastic surgery. That's not even necessarily true too. That like all women with plastic surgery are going to be like baby trappers. That's not true. But I think that I've said this before. Not to be, I'm not trying to lap anybody or do any weird. But it's funny because everybody predicted that, oh, well, when Destiny's marriage ends, like Melina's going to take half his assets. It's going to be blah, blah, blah. My divorce cost like, I think $1,000 or something. Like, but one of the criticisms I've made of Red Pill people is that if you act in a certain way and you say all women are like this, all women do this, well, the only women you're going to find are the women that do that. And this woman apparently is one that does that. So yeah. To be fair, didn't Melina try to get 100K from you? Yeah, but it was after she gave me all my money back already. God, I was so smart for that. Oh my God. I saw into the future. Do you think Fresh will be a good role model? Everything we know, and most of us agree, he is an awful, likely one of the worst role models for kids. I don't know. I don't know what Fresh is like personally. Also, sometimes when people have kids, they change a lot. They turn around a lot. I've known a couple women that have had kids that have made surprising turnarounds where I thought that like, holy yeah, this is going to be a disaster. And then they have a kid and they chill out a bit. And then also you're like getting older too. So anything's possible.
So, okay, baby trapped. Keep going.
Yeah, she seems like a pretty sophisticated person. She's traveled a ton. She's 28. She's done a lot of work around the world and stuff.
No, what happened was this goofball promised her the world. And then after things fell apart, she ended up finding out she was pregnant by him. And I think now there's just a lot going on. But to me, this is not baby trapping. I don't think it's baby trapping. When you promise someone you want to be with them, you want to have kids with them, et cetera, you introduce them to your parents and all this stuff, and you're in them raw. That's not baby trapping. I'm sorry.
Well, she's also getting in raw by a guy that she's known for 3 or 4 months.
Oh, she's an idiot, absolutely. But that's not baby.
Yeah, but the reason why I consider it baby trapping is because it seems like everything is kind of flowing according to plan for her, and the priorities right now are exclusively financial, even to the detriment of the child. Which feels kind of like,
but that's not flowing according to plan. It sounds like this guy was making plans to like be with this girl forever. From everything he was saying, he introduced her to his family in Barbados and took her all the way out there. Like that doesn't sound like baby trapping. That sounds like you're literally trying to be with somebody.
I mean, he probably liked her. That seems to be pretty obvious. I agree with that.
That's a little bit more than like. You introduce them to your parents, and you guys are out here talking about having babies and private messages and all that stuff. That's a little bit more than just like.
I think it would depend. I would have to see interactions like that. Like I've had random people meet my family just because we've been in the area. They've happened to be there. But it's not like a romantic getaway. So if his parents live in Barbados or whatever, and he's like. This chick at sometimes he's like, oh, you should come down. It's just like that's like happening.
I think that's a bit generous of a read. To me,
I agree with you that it's a little bit generous of a read. I agree with you. It's generous towards Fresh. The only reason why I'm leaning in that direction is because she started leaking a ton of shit. She didn't leak anything that showed a strong indication that he was like, oh, we're going to have children and I want to be with you forever and blah, 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 which I think is a little bit weird.
Yeah, I know. I think the main thing for me is it doesn't sound like this is the kind of situation where someone was just trying to get a baby by somebody and like be a baby mom. Just based off of all of his behavior, it would indicate to me that these two were just kind of goofballs who promised each other a lot and had a lot of pillow talk and all this other. And then now that it's a fan, there's a huge fallout with somebody you just don't know really well.
I mean, both could be true, right?
Baby trapping, I think of like this is a targeted process. You're asking the person to inside you so you can have a kid real quick, and it's going very fast. That's not what this is. I don't know. When you meaning parents and family, to me, that's outside of baby trapping. Out of the two of them, the one with the bad track record in regards to being honest and truthfulness is Fresh, at least publicly speaking.
I agree with that. I agree with everything you're saying there, but I don't need
how you're like some kind of player or all this other. Okay, I know how to manage women, but you decide to introduce a woman to your parents and your family, which in black families is a really big deal. I don't know how it is for you guys, but like I know you just don't bring somebody to a Caribbean family if they're just some jump off. So that's a serious thing that you're initiating to them into your family.
everything you're saying is possible. I'm not saying this is impossible, but I'm not relying on anything that Fresh is saying. I'm just looking at how she's recounting everything and like what she's
To be
posted.
clear, I'm not saying it's possible. I'm just saying it's probable, just based off of tracker. That's the main thing. But,
Yeah, if I had no other information, I'd believe you. But like all of her behavior has been like insanely sketch. She's not like a 21-year-old. This is like a 28-year-old.
What's been sketch?
The fact that first of all, the fact that you would be this serious about a guy like 3 months into dating, you've met his mom 1 month into dating, and you see this guy does a show where he talks about girls all the time and all of this. So we're already kind of, but she could just be dumb or naive, maybe. However, the fact that she's like traveled the world, been flown out to Dubai and all these other places, she was like a professional bodybuilder and is like international. It seems to be, I wouldn't assume this person would be naive. I'm sure a lot of people have tried to proposition her, other things. The fact that she, like, as soon as the pregnancy stuff came back, she already had her gears going in terms of, like, she contacted a lawyer. She started messaging him and calling and recording him, asking him if he was going to take responsibility. The fact that when she went into logistical stream, and then I think he and I asked, like, if Walter wanted to be involved in his kid's life, like, would you, let him figure this stuff out? She's like, no, I don't want him to be involved at all. I don't think that I would ever let him do it because he seems like a horrible man. Okay, but you had a kid with him. The fact that she was asking him to buy an apartment or pay for an apartment for him after they knew each other for like a month or two. It's just like all of this stuff. It just feels like really gross. And yeah, I think it's also weird that like in the conversation topics, and maybe this is, maybe it's not weird for everybody. Like her conversations all just like revolved around money, basically. Like there was no conversation of like, well, how are we going to co-parent, or like, what's this child's future going to look like, or like, where do I think it'd be good to live like permanently, or like what, and like none, or like what can I do for Walter, for me and to him to talk or anything. All of it was like, I already talked to a lawyer. I've got to stay in the United States because I know you're going to get child support for me. I hope you're willing to take care of me for 9 months because I can't work because I'm on a tourist visa. Like it was like boom, 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 all about like the finance, every single thing.
How are you going to discuss core parenting if the person says they don't want to be involved?
Well, I mean, you just told the guy that you're pregnant. Why not like give like a few days for some space to figure it out? Like it's a huge bomb to drop on somebody to expect them to solve it immediately.
Yeah. But I'm not expecting logic out of these people.
Yeah.
So.
This is like the red pill nightmare. This is the nightmare for like the red pill people, right?
But you know what it is? And I think this is like true for like all stratospheres of life, even in older ladies. Like sometimes women think like a dude can be horrible, but he can change, or he's going to be different with you specifically. And
yeah, it's
that's
dumb.
Something that people really believe. So it doesn't even matter someone's track record. If like you show a sweet side of yourself to somebody, they'll just buy it and they'll be like, okay, he's different with me.
Yep.
I appreciate that, Destiny.
All right, bye. Remember to hit that like and subscribe, and don't forget the notification bell so that my videos show up right in your feed.